Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, hi, I'm Mercury. Welcome to my channel. It's my daily vlog, so whatever I'm up to is what you're gonna see. Today, I am back in the kitchen and I am going to make a quiche. Roy loves quiche on Christmas. I can't make the type that he usually enjoys because it has ham in it and I don't eat pig. But I'm going to make a different quiche, and I figured I would show you how I make a quiche. So join me in the kitchen. So to make the quiche, I already made the crust. So you can either get like a store-bought crust or make your own crust, whatever you want. I'll link the recipe I used in the description of this video though. As for my quiche, what we're going to need is eggs. So I have my eggs here. I ran out of the white eggs, so I have the brown eggs. Doesn't really make a difference. So I'm going to need 5 eggs. I have both almond milk and coconut milk, and I'm going to use a mix of the two to total 3/4 of a cup. I'm using the coconut milk to add a little bit of creaminess because the almond milk, it's like similar to using like skim milk. It would be a lot, you know, it'll be fluffy, but it won't have that richness. So I'm trying to enhance that a little with the coconut milk. Then I have a leek and an onion. So obviously this is an onion leek quiche. The thing with quiche that's really cool is it's sort of like anything goes. Anything you have in hand, anything you want to add to it, you can. It's essentially a pie of custard, and custard meaning a cooked egg milk combination. So you can add to it anything that you want, whether it's spinach or ham or onions or mushrooms or tomatoes, whatever you enjoy, you can put in this. It's just using the right ratio. And there's a lot of different recipes out there, but I'm going to be doing this with 5 eggs to 3/4 of a cup of non-dairy milk. And that's my ratio. So the other thing about making a quiche, anything that you're putting in it has to already be cooked, because although you're going to put it in the oven to cook, it will not cook to the point that it needs to cook to. So the leek and the onion, I need to saute before I put them into the quiche. So that's where I'm going to start. While I'm doing that, I'm also going to heat up my oven to 375, and I'm going to par bake my pie crust for 10 minutes. Mercury, what's par bake? What are you talking about? What, you're baking the crust with nothing in it? Yes, that is exactly what par baking is. So it basically means that you're taking the pie crust and you're pre-cooking it just a little bit. And the reason that you do this is that way when you put a liquid into it, it doesn't get all soggy and it doesn't cook at a different pace than the filling. This way it cooks evenly and it stays a distinct layer and doesn't become mushy and soggy. So that is the plan. So if you've never cooked with a leek before, you have to prep it a little bit. So we're going to cut off this root part. So that's going to go away. Then we're going to cut off these leaves. So that's going away. And this is the part that we're able to eat. So you have 2 options. If you want rings, you cut this way. If you want strips, like a julienne, you cut this way. I want rings. We're cutting this way. My plan is to cook the leeks first, put them aside, and then cook the onions. And there's a reason for that. Leeks and onions are both part of the same family, so their flavor profile, although different, is on the same spectrum. So what I want to do is I want to cook the regular onion pretty far to a point where it almost gets caramelized, where it gets that sweetness is coming out of the onion, to put it at the other end of the spectrum of the leek. So I'm going to start with the leeks, then I'm going to do the onions. So just a little olive oil in the pan, and we're going to saute the leeks. And while those leeks are sauteing, I'm going to season them with a little bit of salt and pepper. And this is how the leeks should look when they're good and sauteed. So these are done. I'm going to put them in their own little bowl, and then I'm going to do the onions. The onions are in. I'll just shake them up to separate them a bit. Need a little more oil in there. And some salt and pepper. We're just about there. So for the onions, I want to cook them until they are kind of a brown. See, so just like this, where they have browned but they have not burned. And to do this, you really keep them moving the whole time that you're cooking them. So here is the leeks and the onions side by side. The leeks, you'll see, I cooked them, they're still green. They just really softened, and it really should have brought out the flavors. With the onions, I cooked past that point, and I cooked till they started to caramelize and really started to get that golden brown color to it. When I came over here to start getting the eggs ready, I realized there was an ingredient I left out of the ingredient lineup that we needed to show. Parmesan cheese. Cheese, how could I have forgotten the cheese? That is so silly of me. You don't forget the cheese. Cheese is like gold. It's amazing. We don't forget cheese in this house. So, on to deal with the egg part of it now. So I'm going to let those onions and leeks cool down. My crust is still par baking. It has a couple of minutes left. Now what I'm going to do is I have a little bowl. I'm going to put my eggs, my non-dairy milk in here, and I'm going to mix that all up. Then I'm going to add like 3/4 of a cup to a cup of cheese, shredded. You got to shred it so it goes evenly throughout. If you put chunks of cheese, you'll have globs and it'll make the quiche not as airy and light. So it's got to be shredded. Handy dandy cheese grater that I'm going to use. So I have my lump of cheese into the handy dandy cheese grater, and then this will push down on it as I turn the crank. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, if it's cheese. So I used a big chunk of this cheese. This was 5 ounces of cheese, so I probably put 3 ounces of cheese into the egg mixture. So this is what we have. This is the eggs, the non-dairy milk, and the cheese. And you might be thinking, Mercury, you're using non-dairy milk, but you're using real cheese. Well, my friends, I'm able to have aged cheese, and Parmesan is an aged cheese. So that is why I'm able to add that into this. Again, if you want to do real milk, if you want to do non-dairy, if you want to do vegan cheese, whatever floats your boat. Great thing about quiche is you make it your own, right? You really, really customize it. So now the next step, we're going to add those onions and the leeks into this mixture. And it's really, really important that when you add these in, they're not hot, because if they are like fresh out of the frying pan, they'll start to cook the eggs. And you don't want those eggs to cook prematurely. So they have to be cooled down a little bit. And last but not least, a little bit of salt and pepper. Now we're just going to mix this around a little bit. Okay, so everything is all combined in there. Next step, I have my par-baked crust right here. And I'm going to pour my liquid mixture into the crust, and that is going to go into the oven. And I just took the quiche out of the oven and it looks fantastic. Look at that. The crust got a little bit overdone. Normally I would have put some tinfoil on the edge when I saw this happening, but when I went to get tinfoil, I am all out of it. So it's a little overdone on the crust, but that's okay. But look at that, it looks beautiful. So I made the quiche as a do-ahead. So because of that, I'm not slicing into it right now. I don't want to, it looks so pretty in the pan and I want to be able to serve it like that. So I can't taste it on camera for you right now, but it smells delicious. It looks delicious. I can't imagine it's anything but delicious. So I hope you enjoy this. If you try this recipe or if you make your own version of it, let me know how it goes for you in the comments below. And until tomorrow, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and stay inspired by. Take care.